She still can't even stand.
She's so wobbly.
Zhang Weili is furious.
She's upset. But 100%.
Oh, from New York City to China. How we doing? Welcome in, everyone, to a brand new episode of Axe Cake Picks, episode 152. Today is Friday, November 22nd, 2024. Kid, we had our first snow touchdown last night. How you doing down there in the Carolinas?
Feel like Jameis Winston right now. It's a beautiful day to play some football. No,
He's a gem.
He's absolutely one of my favorite players of all time. Just everything he brings to the table and just following his career. Remember when he had the crab legs issue in college at FSU?
Allegedly.
Man, FSU could be using him right now, quarterback.
Oh my, they could, any of us at this point.
Yo, a lot going on this weekend, Bree. I know we're locked in for UFC Macau, but one Friday Fights 88 was this morning. You know, I always like watching that to get the day started. LFA 197 tonight on UFC Fight Pass at 10 o'clock. And tomorrow, got a little bit going on. Brave CF 90, 2 p.m. DAZN, Ares FC 27. Tomorrow, 3:30 Fight Pass again, back on Fight Pass. MBK FC Fight Night is in LA. They're on at 10 o'clock tomorrow evening on Fubo Sports. So I do think they have a deal with DAZN, but I think a little bit more to work out for them.
Is Muhammad Makaev in Brave FC? Is he fighting?
Dude, let's see, because you're right. He signed a contract with them.
Yeah, I thought he was
man.
fighting. I don't know if it's this week or maybe the next card.
You know, that's the type of dude that you would like put on the main card or like a main event. I hate to say it. I'm not seeing him on the prelims. You would have to at least be on the main card. So no, he's not on this Brave CF fight. But
do you like that fit for him in that organization for right now? Because ultimately his goal is to get back to the UFC.
Yeah, that's it. So everything that he's going to be doing in the regional promotions, whether it's in Europe or back in the States or, you know, in the Middle East, it's all going to get him back into the UFC, which who knows if that will ever happen. Once you get blacklisted by Dana, it's
hard
really
to come back.
World against you. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, regardless, we do have a really good episode for you guys today. We will recap the GOAT, Jon Jones. What a performance he showed us last week at the Mecca UFC 309. We'll recap that. Good win for Charles Oliveira as well. Like Joey said, UFC is in the fight capital in Asia, in Macau. That apparently that's the Las Vegas of China. So that's why they always go back to Macau. We got a really interesting card. Main event is a banger between Piotr Jan and Davison Figueiredo. Even the co-main, I like the co-main as well. We got some news towards the end of the show, and then 10 seconds left over there in Newcastle upon Time. We got Cage Warriors 181.
Should be a good one.
Joe, let's start. Back at our hometown, New York City, Jon Jones, the GOAT, defeats Stipe Miocic by a spinning back kick. I mean, what a dominant performance. I mean, third round knockout. It was incredible. After the first round, I was like, oh my God. It was, I scored it a 10-8 round. I mean, those elbows were vicious. It was just a
shutout performance.
Yeah, it was a shutout. I'm lost the words with his performance because he was moving kind of like how we described Tom Aspinall, like, damn, kind of light on the feet. Because I would argue, and maybe you could disagree, but Jon Jones isn't a true heavyweight, right?
No, he's always been a 205 guy. He still had to make weight, had to cut a little bit, but that's where the argument in the past came up. Should we make a cruiserweight? Should we have guys that are 225 to 230 be able to fight separately from the 265-pound guys? Because it's just a big discrepancy right there. It's about 30 to 40 pounds. So, yeah, he's like kind of that tweener guy, but he's just so creative and just so athletic that he can compete with anyone in the world. We saw it with Stipe. Stipe is no small dude. Yeah. So that's just what you get with Jon Jones, just the epitome of greatness, because it was exactly that. It was a shutout performance, man. Nothing Stipe had to offer was there. And it had to do with maybe the game plan. I mean, Six Gun Gibson and him, they've been working together for so long out there in Jack's Wink. It's a breath of fresh air to see them try new things and just keep it going. At this age, 37 years old, and granted Stipe is 42, man, keeping him on the southpaw totally kept Stipe's jab out of the mix. That was his bread and butter, the 1-2, being able to throw it straight down the pipe. And with Jon throwing, not too many oblique kicks, but throwing stuff up the middle and then keeping it in the southpaw range. And then when he took him down with the trick,
ankle pick was insane.
Super impressive, bro. You just can't game plan for that. As an opponent going against Jon Jones, he'll game plan everything against you, but it just seems that even at 37, as I mentioned, in his older age, you don't know what to expect from the man.
And it seems like Joe, he continues to, you've watched him obviously for his whole career or most of it. He seems like he's getting better and better. And a lot of people I've listened to, they said he's a master of film. He just studies and studies his opponent. And no matter who Stipe brought in for this camp, no matter how long he brought or how long he studied John, he wasn't expecting this form of John Jones. And
No.
I don't think anyone was beating John Jones.
This is John Jones. It's like perfect, I think, how he played his career. Now that he's older, I don't think he would have fared as well with, we look at the revolving door at 205, especially with Pereira as champ. It would have been difficult for him there at this age. I think him making the move to heavyweight actually gave him an advantage. He's going to be a quicker guy most of the time. And I mean, he's just a specimen, bro. I mean, Dana White, he's right.
Yeah.
He's the greatest fighter ever lived. I remember, you're right. If I watched his whole career, pretty much, I can remember him like in the up and coming. There was like kind of rumors, kind of like obviously totally different trajectory and career of a whole. But like when Chris Weidman first came out, everyone was like, look at this guy, look at this guy. Same thing with Sexual Chocolate John Jones when he was on the up and coming, like, look at this guy, look at this guy. And then he wins the title against Machida in Newark. I mean, that's where, not only seeing him in his young career, but then seeing it in our own backyard, it just grew a connection with the man, as we've seen him evolve and all the controversy that he's had. I mean, makes him who he is, the baddest man on the planet, because everyone who has been that has had controversy. Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali, even if you go back to them, even though it was unrighteous of the people to put him in jail and not fight in the Vietnam War, at the end of the day, it was controversy. And at the end of the day, we're looking at them as being on the right side and just being some of the baddest men who ever walked the face of the earth.
I mean, if you don't know if he's the baddest man or the GOAT, just look at his career. I mean, Rashad Evans, that run he went on at light heavyweight, Lyoto Machida, Quentin Jackson, Vitor Belfort, Chael Sonnen, Alexander Gustafsson, he did unanimous decision. Glover
That's when the decisions
Teixeira
started occurring a little bit, but yeah, there's still a DC finish thrown in that midst of the decision.
But even when you go down, and even when you come up, he took out Cyril Gane, choked him out in 2 minutes, and then he decimated Stipe Miocic.
He's the greatest heavyweight of all time.
And people argue, he's fighting Stipe at 42. It doesn't matter. No form of Stipe was going to beat John Jones that night. I'm sorry. So you could say what you want on the outside, and yes, we all have our flaws, but the resume speaks for itself. He doesn't need to do anything anymore. And I'm glad I love John Jones for the fight week. I loved how he played into the heel. And I love after the fact that said, listen, it's good sitting on the table, willing to walk away. I don't need to prove anything. He's the greatest fighter of all time.
Yeah, I back him, man. I do. I agree with John Jones.
Me too. And my thing is, I love because now he's telling the truth. He's saying, if you want me to fight Tom Aspinall, I need fuck you money. And I believe it. And if you really want this fight to happen, Dana White said, listen, we're going to give it to him. Where do you think fuck you money comes in? Because I think it's starting around 25 to 30 million.
Absolutely. It would have to double his purse, I think, minimum, because he's been making the $15 million a year, I think, for quite a while as a main event champion.
I think speculation, it's around 10 to 15 million he makes per fight.
Absolutely. Yeah, he has definitely been one of the highest paid guys, and it proves it with the performances. I mean, let's be real about it. Dude's undefeated. John Jones is an undefeated fighter.
Yeah, and I hope they one day the Nevada or the LA
especially since they illegalized 12 to 6.
Yes. So we'll see.
Maybe you can't do anything about the no contest because of the pop, and maybe that can knock down a lot of purists in him to peg. Same with Anderson Silva, but you got to look like, is it true? It's just like in a baseball thing. Are some of the people that were popped? Is it true? You're like, right? It's very tricky the situation, but I think the performances speak for themselves.
Yep, Jinx.
And I love Stipe. I do love Stipe a lot.
100%.
And I respect.
I'm glad.
That. Yeah. He's a class act, and I mean, he was a little confused by John Jones' mind games of everything that was said, but he played it off, and he went in there to fight. And like I said, any version of Stipe probably wouldn't beat John, but the fact that he retired and the UFC didn't, there's a pat on the back from Joe Rogan. Yeah, Carlos Esparza gets a montage, but Stipe doesn't.
But Stipe nothing. Well, you even saw when Stipe won the belt in Boston, he didn't want even Dana White to put it around him because they were doubting him. They said he told his coach to put the belt around him. So there's always been that weird taste in their mouth with
They threw
Stipe.
him in Brazil to fight Verdum, and what does he do? He absolutely ices Verdum in the crowd, and I think that put a bad taste in the UFC's mouth ever since. It sucks because you got to give that man his due. He deserves a lot of respect, and if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have established the heavyweight division to what it is to
100%.
make John Jones now the greatest of all time.
Yeah, and one day he will have his walk. I hope he does show up. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer, and he needs to be recognized because, like you said, this heavyweight division wouldn't be where it's at today without Stipe Miocic. So it's insane. I'm glad. And it's so Stipe the way he walked out. Yeah, I'm done. I'm good. See you guys. Like, he was just out of there.
He's such
Quick.
a G, bro.
Yeah, I like Stipe. So, and he's going to go home and save lives. So
That's
you got to respect
He's
him
not
for
quitting
that.
his job as a fireman. You'll
No,
see him.
he
out there.
loves that shit. He loves it. But gun to your head. He wants to stay active. And I believe John when he says, I want the fuck you money. Gun to your head, do you think we see the Tom Aspinall fight? Because I think we do. I think the competitor in John wants to challenge. I just think he wants to be compensated.
Yeah, he just wants to be compensated fairly. They didn't want to throw the Alex Pereira fight because he's got to defend his belt, just as John. If he's going to stay here, he's going to have to defend his. So, yeah, I mean, it's probably what makes most sense. I forgot if I had someone else in mind for something.
The other one is Alex Pereira, but I even as much as we love John here, he has to relinquish the belt then.
If he's going to fight.
Yes.
Poetan.
If he wants fun fights and wants to fight Alex Pereira, which I don't doubt him wanting to do because it's an easier fight for him. Clearly, he wants that fight. Maybe fight for the BMF, whatever. Fun fights, you deserve it at this point. But you have to let the belt go. Tom Aspinall is the interim champ, and he needs to fight.
And that's a good fight because Tom's young, he's got fast hands. John's just very creative. And like you said, the game planning, I think on the ground, I think it may cancel, because John's got such dominant wrestling. But Tom Aspinall's been practicing BJJ since he was a child due to his father. So like I said, you got a little bit of a clash of styles with that matchup. And, if John wants to stay here, it might be necessary, as Dana White said. So I got to hear from the horse's mouth. If the boss is saying that, then that's probably most likely what's going to happen.
Gun to your head, do you think we see it in 2025?
Back at MSG a year from today.
I was going to say International Fight Week. Las
Okay,
Vegas.
but that's in July. Like you see them turn around that, like John wanting to turn around.
Well, it's already been a year. It's already been like 9-10 months for Tom Aspinall.
It's been 2 years because we had a year lead up to the first fight. Injury happens, and now we have a whole nother year. It was technically 2 years that these guys were supposed to fight. So that's why I would suggest maybe MSG again. Maybe Tom Aspinall gets a fight before having a fight, which doesn't make any sense. But I don't know what the plan is. And for them,
so it would be a year. He just beat Curtis Blades in July of this year at UFC.
But that would be catering to Tom Aspinall
to 304 back.
He's going to cater to him at all. That's why the argument about Tommy getting a fight against John Jones in England, that's not happening. Like there's like you said, more likely that maybe International Fight Week, somewhere in Las Vegas we can get. That's actually closer for John than having to go to New York, even though
because he's in Albuquerque.
He's training in Albuquerque, so.
Yeah, I would. It's those two. I think it's either International Fight Week, he turns it around in about 6-7 months, or he waits the full year back at MSG in November. It's either those two.
I threw in that caveat. I go, gun to my head. I'm saying later next year. I'm saying at the end of next year.
They have hypothetical odds. Can you guess the opening lines for John Jones and a Tom Aspinall?
John Jones minus 250.
Tom Aspinall minus 130. John Jones plus 110.
Taking
I've already bet it. It's like Patrick it's like Patrick Mahomes as an underdog. Granted, they did lose last week against the Bills, but I'm just saying.
Bad match in Buffalo.
Yes, it was a tough one, and Josh Allen is playing like the MVP. But like getting John Jones as an underdog, I will take 10 out of 10.
Yes,
and twice on Sunday.
100%.
So yeah,
free money basically.
Yeah,
not discrediting Tommy Aspinall. He's absolute talent and on the up and coming, but. We have seen him get hurt. We have seen him get finished. We have seen a lot of different things, even though he has a 6-fight first-round knockout streak. We haven't seen any flaws in John Jones.
Let's get to the fight of the night. Charles Do Bronx Oliveira. What a performance. Defeating Michael Chandler. I thought it was 4 rounds to 1. And I'll say this, the slams that Charles did for the crowd, I think he saved the Conor fight by doing that.
Michael Chandler.
Yes. I'll say this also, though. For you to go and speak on all these podcasts and say, you know, I've manifested, I've changed my ways, I'm not going to be doing the careless. What? Like, what did we just see? He got dominated by Charles Oliveira, and you can't take a couple months or one training camp to fix those bad habits. He is too reckless, Joe, and I don't think he really has a spot for, I don't want to say this company, but for the top 5, top 10 in the lightweight division, because I think he doesn't fight for the right reasons. I think he fights for the crowd.
Yeah, and that could be the wrong reason, but then again, that's why, he's pure entertainment. He could be a fan favorite in that regards. That he throws caution to the wind, puts himself in danger, and tries to go out.
Oh, there. I don't doubt that he's a fan favorite, but he's never going to win the belt this way.
No, and it's unfortunate because when I heard this fight announced, man, every fiber of my being was let down. I hate to say that, I was being a realist in that, but granted, it's going to be an entertaining fight. But literally, it was the same exact thing as last time. It was the same exact thing, minus the finish, I guess. But it was the same fucking thing. We saw the same fight twice. Even slams, we saw double time. Like, come on. Yeah. Like, it was honestly an embarrassment of riches on the UFC's part to do that. And maybe it helped Oliveira, state his case of being next in line for the belt. Like, as if he's never left. He didn't need to fight Michael Chandler to prove that. But, yeah, it maybe kept Michael Chandler fresh in people's minds. And Conor McGregor surely fresh in people's minds after today.
Yeah, I think he's definitely the number one contender at lightweight right now. I mean, Islam and Arman are going to fight early 2025, maybe January or February. Yes, and then Charles has to be next. I mean, there's no one else. Justin Gaethje can't do it. Dustin Poirier is not going to fight. Charles Oliveira is the number one contender now for the next shot at lightweight. For Michael Chandler now, got banged up pretty bad. He said he was pissing blood, spitting up blood. It was the baddest he got beat up in all of his fights. I think you take a step back and you kind of just bank on. Yeah.
It's not. I don't think because of how much damage he took. I think it's his age.
I do too.
I think that he's not receiving as much damage as he's received in his career. It's coming to a head. He's not going to be able to take as much.
What do you think is the problem for Michael Chandler? Do you think? Because I don't think he's a technical striker, and I think he just goes forward kind of recklessly. And I don't think against a technician like Dubronx, that is the smartest strategy.
No, it's not. And it won't be, I think, in any of his fights going forward, ever. And I don't think it has been. It was just that, like you said, that recklessness is what got him to the show, and got him to the Bellator championship and won the title. But you're fighting better level of competition, and people are going to come up with game plans. And I do think what you said is correct. The fact that he hears the roar of the crowd, I think he just drops everything that he's worked on and just says, fuck it. We're about to brawl, which is not good. Not good when you're trying to be who you say he's going to be. He hasn't proved back this word. What is it? A 2-6 record now in the UFC?
Yeah, he's 2-6 in the UFC right now.
It's maybe he needs to step
away. And he beat Tony Ferguson.
Yeah, even though he's, already been away because of the Conor fight never happening. Yeah, I think he may need to go back and rest and heal up and get ready for Conor again, because that's probably what's going to happen.
And just bank on the big payday. It's going to be the biggest payday of your career. Just get that and go home.
Yeah, he could have been teasing Conor the whole time and been having fights, but maybe the layoff was good. But then again, we see, like you just said, the damage he's received being the most he's beat up. I think taking less fights may be better for Michael Chandler in this stage of his career.
Speaking of crowd, they really let Bo Nickel have it. I thought he dominated, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I do think two things could be true. I think people could be frustrated that he didn't attempt a single takedown, but he also was dominating the fight. And that's no disrespect to Paul Craig, but he didn't need to. I guess what Dana White, DC was kind of critical as well on the commentary. That's the reason you got here. You were honestly one of the most dominant wrestlers the UFC has ever seen. We want to see you wrestle a little bit. And I understand Paul Craig is great off his back and whatnot, but at least take him down. You're not confident in your own ability to take him down. I don't know if that's the case, but it kind of rubbed people the wrong way. And I mean, you heard the crowd. They're chanting overrated.
Yeah. I mean, it was a case of him fighting not to lose, a big step up with Paul Craig, being a competent guy, fighting, the higher level of the weight class, and two different weight classes, being a bigger guy too. I think Paul Craig was outsized Bo Nickel. It's just a lot of worry, that he's going to let people down, maybe get embarrassed in front of Donald Trump. You know what I mean? It was a big deal for everyone over there. So, I mean, it was just the heat of the moment and the limelight and all that. I just think that played a factor in him trying not to lose in probably the most important part of his career, point of his career. So, yeah, I mean, you can't knock him too much. I understand the crowd, like, as compared to the co-main event we just discussed, they were all cheering for Michael Chandler. He was losing, right? So yeah. Would you rather be that fighting for the crowd who's not going to give you anything but, views and money, or Bo Nickel, who has his sights set on gold, right? I mean, he made the best decision for him in his career, and he was the biggest moneymaker for me over the weekend. At plus 750 for the decision, I hit that exact. Yeah. And job. I mean, yeah, that's something I saw because Paul Craig, like you said, the jiu-jitsu, probably be comfortable even being taken down. And he wouldn't care to be taken down on the feet. So I just felt like it was going to be a stalemated kind of fight. And that's what you got. Let's get Bo Nickel with another challenge, but someone that gives him a more favorable matchup.
He even came out after the fight and said, you know what? I do have to get better. I'm a still worker. And granted, this is only his second year in mixed martial arts. Like, the guy is he's learning on the job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now, he's not ready for a top 15, I don't think. What do you see maybe next in that middleweight division? Obviously, I'll say this, Joe, while you try to get a name, I think one day he will be fighting for the belt because I think he is that good.
Yeah, man.
But I think he's going at a slow pace.
Yeah, they knocked Chris Curtis out of the top 15. That's not a favorable matchup.
That's a big step up.
It's a big step up, but so was Paul Craig. But there you go, like someone who you're going to want to take down immediately. If it's
a little pushback, as long as Paul Craig has been in the UFC, he really still hasn't developed his striking.
No, exactly.
Which says something.
Exactly, but to the point of him not caring about the takedowns, where Chris Curtis is going to be balls to the wall, takedown defense, trying to sprawl and brawl. So it's just another type of style that Bo Nickel's going to have to face. He was just in the top 15. If he's not ready for the top 15, maybe something on the threshold there. I know there's some other guys that are teetering on the edge.
Person who wasn't ready for the main event or the main card, Karina Silva. I mean, that was a tough one because I knew a lot of people on her, and she was a huge favorite. But shout out Vivian Araujo because, man, what a dominant performance. I thought she won 30.
Yeah. The Brewers for me, bro.
Yeah. Just can't get it right at all, whether to save your life.
So what was the card odds? Or was it striking?
So it closed at minus 298 Karina Silva, plus 240 for Vivian Araujo.
I know a lot of people laughing and other people crying with their parlays getting busted because Karina Silva was probably thrown into a lot. I mean, I was favoring her. I just thought Araujo, her age, if she didn't do what she did, then I thought it was going to be a long night for her. But she implemented her game plan. The wrestling has always been a big factor for Araujo in her entire career. She's always been a dog, man. I bet there's plenty of times where she's been a dog, and I have bet her and I've hit, but there's plenty of times where I've faded her and lost, and it's just another one of those times.
The Fighting Nerds, they stay undefeated. Mauricio Rufy is a beast. I mean, he just put it on James, the Peruvian. So he won unanimous decision.
I was hoping for that third round finish. I saw it coming. I said James James on top. He's a tough dude, and I just saw that he would been in there. I just was hoping for him to get finished in the third, and it was close, but we made it to the scorecards. Huffy is legit.
What happened with Jonathan Martinez? Because he had to go for broke. He had Marcus McGee injured, and he just didn't go for it. I was so confused, Joe.
Yeah, man. Jonathan Martinez just might be on a trend downward. A little spiral, if you would. I mean, he had every chance in the world to beat Jose Aldo, and that would have been a little notch in the belt for him. And then you go on to have a chance to beat Marcus McGee, who's, even though in his age, an up and comer. He started his MMA career late in his life, but look at how successful he's been. And he does have some power behind his touches. So maybe it was a little bit of that. Maybe Jonathan Martinez felt it. Maybe just like, you know what? Maybe I have a chance to win this. Let's not get knocked out late. And the fact he didn't, put the pedal to the metal, just lost in that fight. And Marcus McGee's on a roll, man. He's continuing to roll and fighting the dragon like that. Yeah. I mean, it puts him in a ranked situation, Marcus McGee, good for him, man. I'm very happy for him. I like the guy, but Jonathan the Dragon Martinez, if you backed him in the last two fights like I have, I can't do it again.
Yeah, not again. Unfortunately, Chris Weidman and your boy Eric Anders fight was canceled, but rescheduled for 310. So we're at a catch weight as well as to not make them drop all that weight again.
Fair.
Our boy Jim Miller continues to dominate. First, he jumped the Gilly in the first round, got the submission win, and then Damon Jackson puts the gloves down. Hell of a career.
Yeah, two retirements. Both not really respected. Damon Jackson has done a lot for the UFC. A lot of entertaining fights. You look back, all his fights, a lot of war of attritions going on, whether it's on the ground with a bunch of scrambles and him locking into submission or even exchanging on the feet. Damon Jackson has been a treat throughout his career, and I wish him the best in retirement. But Jim Miller's just an absolute freak.
David Onama against Roberto Romero. What a fight that was. It was kind of it was a unanimous decision, but the first round, Roberto was throwing it at him.
Yeah, and I saw that coming in, that Roberto Romero, Mexican fighting spirit is second to none, and David Onama always makes his fights like, if you put a lot of money on him, you're going to be sweating. Every fight David Onama in is a sweat. So I think that's just part of his game. He's just going to make you sweat.
Marcin Tybura got the TKO doctor stoppage as well. So big win for the top.
Just keep rolling in his career, bro. Every time you doubt him, like I did, unfortunately, he proved you wrong every time.
Is Mickey Gall done?
Should be. He should have had another retirement.
Yeah, I think he should be done as well. That was not
and
good.
How about your boy?
Welsh gangster, baby. I'm telling you, he's the future of this organization.
Fucking win post, the Hulk Hogan 24-inch Python.
Oh my
savage!
God.
I love the Welsh gangster. Yeah. Dude.
Oh my God, it was just a clean knockout against Basil Hassef, a guy who kind of went toe to toe with three-name Jack. Right. So big win for Oban Elliott and our girl. Unfortunately,
I didn't even want to talk about it.
Veronica, it did not look good. The Brazilian Eduardo Moraro. Yeah, the wrestling just dominated. And that's been the Achilles heel for Veronica, even before she took her thing. And you even heard her husband, Dan Hardy, you got to go for it. You let the hands go. You got to go for it. She never really did that.
No, she didn't fall in her groove. I think as soon as she was taken down, it all went out the window for her. And that's what you get Veronica Hardy. We love her, and we expect good things when she gets a stylistic matchup, which is more likely a striking affair. Mm-hmm. But she will let you down in some occasions. It's just happened to be one of them.
So, real quick, I go 4-2. I got the Bo Nickel wrong, and I got Veronica Hardy wrong. But Oban Elliott, I got right. John Jones, I got right. But Charles Oliveira. So 4-2 on the night for me. Kid, how did you do?
I'm very glad that you went positive. I know you got the Bo Nickel fight wrong, but thanks to that, that's what kept me afloat. That's plus 750 is the thing that kept me afloat because my record was not good. I went 5-13, man. I took too many chances, too many wrong. I won't be doing that again. Got a little greedy at MSG, but I mean, you know what? It's one of the biggest cards of the year, and it will be, I think, until the UFC doesn't go back to MSG, which I don't think will ever happen. So it is what it is, 5-13, but I did hit on the official lean. So, I mean, want to know on that.
I do want to give a shout out to Charles Oliveira again. He does become the first fighter in UFC history to reach 20 performance bonuses following his fight of the night with Michael Chandler. He's reached over $1 million in winning bonuses,
which is kind of sad. In a sense. I mean, 20 performances and it's only $1 million. Yeah. I mean, you know what I mean?
Oh, by the way, thoughts on John Jones changing his profile picture to a duck?
I mean, he's just playing into everyone's hands, like people don't realize it. His psychological approach is like second to none, bro. Man, I love it. What was it? He named it too. He named himself something else. It was like not Johnny Bones. It was like Johnny something else. I forgot.
Quack or some shit. I do want to give another shout out to Stipe Miocic on a hell of a career. 2-time UFC heavyweight champion, most consecutive title defenses in heavyweight history at 3. Most title defenses in heavyweight history with 4. Most finishes in heavyweight title fights 4. Most performance bonuses in heavyweight history 9.
I remember more than all those title victories was what got him to that championship level. The fight with JDS, Junior Dos Santos, and Stipe Miocic is one of the greatest fights I've seen. And that's what propelled, even though he lost, he was on the loss. We always talk about you learn a lot more in a loss than you ever do in a win. And that fight is what propelled him to be the champion we all know and love.
Hell yeah. All right, kid. Well, let's spin it forward. Let's try to get these picks going. And before we do that, a quick word from our sponsor. We are brought to you by Viva Tequila Seltzer, the most refreshing hard seltzer on the market, hands down. It is no wonder why Viva was voted #1 hard seltzer in the world by San Francisco World Spirit Competition. With only 88 calories, 0 carbs, 0 sugar, and a light 4.5 ABV, Viva is the perfect drink for your post-game celebration as it was created with that active lifestyle in mind. We flavor tequila seltzer because flavor is the spice of life, and we like our drinks with just a kick. Just like how we like our lives, whether it's Huckleberry playing around the golf with the boys or a new flavor, coconut, watching UFC Macau, it doesn't matter. Our favorites pair perfectly with that Artisanal Blanco tequila for that subtle and refreshing drink. Our belief here at Axe Kick Picks and at Viva is to live long, live well, and live it up. Joe, no better way to start our Saturday morning. Fight card starts at 6 a.m. Eastern.
How about 3 a.m. prelims?
I'm not gonna say.
I will be up.
You'll be up.
You know me.
You know this is a treat for all the international because they usually have to deal with our times. But
I think it's fair.
Yeah, it's definitely fair. But I don't have a lot. I know there's some championship for Road to the UFC fights, but we got some interesting fights here on the card. I will let you lead it off, kid. What do you like?
Certainly do. I'm surprised we didn't talk a little bit about Paul and Tyson, but if you want to bring it up after the picks, by all means.
Yeah.
I did go undefeated. It's not like I didn't go undefeated. But
no big deal.
We'll kick it off in a light division for UFC China, UFC Macau. Mashitate Hiroshia is -180. He's taking on Nicholas Mata, +165. I don't have an official play. I said, you know what? Like I said, I got greedy in MSG. I'm going to stay away from the first fight of the evening, but I will be getting involved in the next fight. And so in the bantamweight division, Long Zhao is -130, and he's taking on Kwang Lee at +125. And Kwang Lee has some history with the UFC, but I like Long Zhao. I like the favorite in this one. I do think his record speaks for itself. He's been fighting a lot longer, and he is younger than Kwang Lee, who has less on his resume, and he's 32. He's 4, 5, 6 years older than his opponent. So I got to go to the younger guy who's more experienced, and I think he'll get the job done. And now we go to the flyweight division where, a budding superstar here from the Dana White Contender Series. Got him wrong there. One of my few losses that I had. Loner Kavanaugh is -325, taking on Jose Ochoa at +320. D-Rock's looking at me like this is a trap because you got the Peruvian and Jose Ochoa with the same record of 7-0 as Loner Kavanaugh. But you know what? I did get that fight right with James James Yantop, last time. So we're going to fade the Peruvian here in this spot. I think Loner Kavanaugh is too talented. I think the favorite odds are on his side, rightfully so. I think he's, like I said, a star in the making. So I'll lay the chalk at -325. I still have to see if this guy's going to hold any submissions up. He does have the finishing capability, and of course it can go to decision. But the fact is, I'm not going to incorporate him on the parlay I've made, but you guys can decide if you want to do that because I do think he's very talented. So let's move on to the next fight, and that is as well in the flyweight division, 125 pounds. Carlos Hernandez is -155, and he's taking, can I buy a vowel? Nam Jargal, Tumen Demberel. All right, at +160. Now,
what a job.
Absolutely, brother. I think back to Dana Batagaral, and so when you look at the last name, you got to get that Barrel in there. So I think actually his nickname may speak up to what he does, and his way of knockout might not be what you think. His nickname is Art of Knockout. Carlos Hernandez tends to have difficulty on the ground. Carlos Hernandez is going to want to keep this standing, but if Jargal can go ahead and take him down, his way of knockouts are submissions. He's never been submitted before. He got a lot under his belt. Give me the dog. +160. I like Tumen Demberel. I think he gets the job done against Carlos Hernandez, and it puts him on the map. Give me the Arna knockout. One of the dogs are barking early. So now we go into the strawweight, the women's strawweight division. Zhao Can Feng is -380, taking on Ming Shi at +350. And we look at Ming Shi. A lot of stories in this road to UFC coming in. She's older. She's got a longer career. She fares well on the ground, but Zhao Can Feng is an absolute favorite for a reason. 22 years of age, most of her fights ending via knockout. It's kind of similar to the other woman fighter we have on here with Kong Wong. So I got to go with Zhao Can Feng, -380. I would probably lean with her getting the knockout, but I'm just not certain because women's fights do tend to go to distance. So if I were to, maybe play it to squeeze that down, I may play the decision, but I'm just not so sure. So man, playing her straight up, just like I'm doing with Loner Capital, I think I got to do, man, because I just don't know which way it's going to go. Obviously, it's not going to go submission. Maybe if you want to squeeze it down a little bit, but still lay a little chalk, double chance, KO, TKO, or decision, or, just the two picks. So that's how I'll play that fight. And now we move to the flyweight division. Kiro Sahota is -110 against Dong Hoon Choi is -110. This is a pick'em fight here, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, in the flyweight division for the road to UFC, one of these guys will be crowned champion and will make it into the ranks. Shahota's a transplant from Japan, fighting out of England, and now he's got a good camp and all, but I just think the South Korean's an absolute superstar. I like Dong Hoon Choi here. At a pick'em fight, you got to give me the more explosive guy. And I think him winning the title will mean a lot for him. And I think he can make some noise in the ranks of the UFC. So let's go Dong Hoon Choi at a pick'em fight. So I got a pick for each and every of the road to UFCs, and it won't end there. We move into the bantamweight division with Su Young Yu, who's favored at -150, take on Baojin Genesuli at +140. And I love the story of Genesuli so much. I got to play him here at the dog price. Su Young Yu is no joke, and he's favored for a reason. He's got some talent on the feet. But I think just the heart and determination that Genesuli is going to bring into this might be a little bit of a heart bet for me, but I'm going to play it. I like this guy a lot. I like the story. I like where he's coming from. And I like the tools at his disposal. So give me the dog again. Baojin Genesuli at +140. And now we've made it. That was the main event, if I recall, right? Or is that the featured bout?
No, that is.
That was the main event of the preliminary card. So we move into the first fight of the main card, which will take place, as D-Rock said, at 6 a.m. Cup of coffee, grab your cup of coffee, get locked into fights as soon as you wake up. And we'll kick it off in the light heavyweight division, which is between Ozzy Diaz +290. I'm pretty sure he's fought a UFC X before, or he's competed in the Dana White Contender Series against Joe Pyfer and lost, if I'm correct. He got knocked out against Joe Pyfer. Taking on Ming Yang Zhang. I mean, the Mountain Tiger, he's on a 10-fight KO streak right now. You'd be foolish to fade this man and also fade him in the way that he's going to get it done. Because if Ozzy Diaz got knocked out by Joe Pyfer, I don't think Joe Pyfer at the time was as skilled a technician. Obviously, he had the power, but Ming Yang Zhang has been competing in kickboxing for as long as I can remember, and you saw it in the UFC recently. He got that knockout touch. So -300, I'll play that, incorporate him on a parlay that I do have. But I will take the -160 KO TKO. You can see the odds have him favored to get that knockout. I don't know which round he would do it. Maybe if you want to squeeze it down even more, look at the past 5 fights, all in the first round. Yeah, I think that's the way to get some more value. But I'll just play it safe and take the Mountain Tiger via KO TKO at -160. And let's move on to a very exciting fight and something that might be sleeping under the radars. Light heavyweight division, we're back again. Volkan, no time odds to mirrors, +205. A lot of value in him if you do look at it from a perspective. But Carlos, the Blackjack Olberg, has been tearing it up. He's -210 and the favorite. D-Rock, it's your first play of the day. What are you going with?
Yeah, give me Carlos Olberg and the over 1.5 rounds. I got it at +125. I see at even money. Still could get plus money, which is good. Olberg, the younger fighter, faster with his hands. Volkan Ozdemir, he's shown us that he can hang around in there. He can grapple. He has okay boxing as well. I don't think Olberg was going to go in there, try to be reckless because he has to respect the boxing of Volkan Ozdemir. And I just think this fight is going to last a little longer than most people think. I like Olberg. I want a better number. So taking him plus the over 1.5 rounds, +125. I really like that.
I love that play. Yeah, Volkan Ozdemir is not going to go out silently. He's going to try to make some noise in there early. And so, he may get Carlos Olberg in trouble, but guys that have similar power, I got to go with the dot as more talented. I just think Carlos Olberg, he's just more proficient on his feet. I feel like he does have the talent and the technique to absolutely wash Ozdemir. It's just if Ozdemir can throw that overhand or straight or something down the pipe and catch him unsuspectedly. So with more ways to win, especially with the submission in the third round we saw last time, I think we have an evolved Carlos Olberg. Give me the Blackjack. Straight up, I'll lay the chalk at -210. And we move on to one of my favorite fighters on this card in the flyweight, the women's flyweight division. Kang Wang is -800, rightfully so. She came out decked out in the Joker face paint and was shooting her opponent again, Gabriela Fernandez at +700. It's absolutely scary, intimidating, man. I'm intimidated, and I'm not across from the chick. So I got to go with her. I mean, I just don't see her losing, but a lot of people based off her last fight are expecting her to probably get a finish. And what's actually favored is her to get the victory via decision. Gabby Fernandez with decision with Carly Judas her last time out. And Carly Judas throws a lot of volume, a lot of pressure. So if Con Wayne can't find that closing shot, I do think this fight goes to the judges, but she will be victorious with a tremendous amount of volume and input. So give me Con Wayne, the Joker. No way to lay that minus 800. You got to take her a certain prop. I'll lay the minus 110 with a decision victory for her. In the featured bout, we have a welterweight fight. Kenan Song is plus 155, and he's taking on Muslim Salikov at minus 175. I guess everyone and their grandmother is favoring the king of Kung Fu, but I like the assassin in his own backyard. I don't think he's ever fought here before, and now he's going to have the crowd supporting him. After a couple Chinese victories, I'm sure the crowd will be in his favor, although mental will be going to him to get this job done. Give me Kenan Song at a dog price plus 155. I'm sure it could possibly end on the feet, but we have seen a lot of his fights go to the judges. We have seen a submission thrown in there by him, but I'm sure Kenan Song will make this a fight as he tends to always. So I'll take the dog in the featured bout. In the strawweight matchup we have for the co-main event is between title challenger Zhang Xiaonan. She's a favorite. Surprisingly so, in my opinion. I mean, minus 185 is very hefty, taking on Tabitha Ricci at plus 170. Tabitha Ricci is absolutely competent with what she does. And I think the biggest issue that Yan Xiaonan faces is when she struggles against strong wrestlers. So, D-Rock, before I give you the reins, I'm going to take Tabitha Ricci, Baby Shark. I have a feeling you may be falling in line with me just based off the wrestling, and her loss may have motivated her to get this dub.
Yeah, to be honest, Joe, I'm surprised at the number. I thought it would be more. I love Zhang Xiaonan in this fight. You know, all the Tabitha Ricci lovers and supporters, good. Keep betting her so we could get a better number on Zhang Xiaonan. I don't know how Tabitha Ricci wins here. She has great Zhang Xiaonan has great striking, okay takedown defense, and as well, even though she lost against the champ, I didn't come away thinking she lost anything. I don't think she took a major step back. She even had moments in that title fight as well. So obviously, if the number is too high for you, I would wait and see. But I'm going to take Zhang Xiaonan here to win via decision as well. You could get that at, right now she's at minus 180, minus 190. But if you want to take her to win via decision like I am, minus 119, best odds.
Yeah, not bad. I mean, it's absolutely possible. Yan Xiaonan could get choked unconscious and still be in the fight. So, I mean, anything could happen there.
Yep.
Let's go to the main event. And the main event is a highly anticipated matchup and possibly a title eliminator for the bantamweight division. I think most likely we'll probably see Merab versus Sean O'Malley again next year, come early. But I'm sure one of these guys, whoever wins, will get that next shot, that next in line. So, No Mercy, Petr Yan is minus 300. He's taking on Davison Figueiredo, Deuce de Guerra, Figgy, as we all like to call him. And he's a massive dog in the spot at plus 275. D-Rock, I'll hand it off to you. Give me your opinion on the main event.
Yeah, Davison Figueiredo, he's been good to us, good for us for some wins as well, since coming up to 135. But I do think it stops here. I like Petr Yan. I think he's looked good in his comeback against Song Yadong. And yes, he is notorious to start. He's a slower starter. So I do think the 5 rounds does benefit him here. I think he's going to have the cleaner striking, boxing, and I think his ground game is kind of a wash if Figueiredo tries and able to take him down. And even if he does, I think he's going to get right up.
Always moving.
Yeah. So, like I said, I think he has great striking, and I doubt Figgy drops him and he doesn't get finished, Petr Yan. And as the fight goes on, I just feel like we're going to see Petr Yan take over this fight. The number is a little high, but for good reason. But another one, I'm going to take Petr Yan to win via decision here. Let me get the number for you. Plus 115.
Plus 115, exactly, because that's what I have. But leave it to D-Rock to call you in the middle of the week and start hyping up Figgy and start hyping up Richie to go ahead and take the other people. All right? So try to fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. You ain't fooling me again in this third one because I didn't pick Figgy. I took Petr Yan. I think the volume, the output that he's going to do is just going to be overwhelming for Figgy. And, he seemed to have a power advantage. I don't know necessarily if that's going to be true against here. Petr Yan's fought some, heavy hitters in the 135 division. I mean, he's competed around the world. I mean, he's very schooled in this. It could be a type of situation like I mentioned earlier in the podcast, like what Stipe happened against JDS. If Figgy loses this, but it goes to decision, it could very well help out his career at 135. But for now, Petr Yan is hungry. I think he's back fully. And I think, just the crisp technician that he is, he's going to be the purest expression of striking, I think. And that is just going to overwhelm Figgy. I do think Figgy's going to have to maybe shoot a takedown. But like you said, when it hits the mat, Petr Yan doesn't stop moving. He scrambles up to get to the feet. And I think that's just a recipe for disaster for Figgy. He wants to get you down, hold you there, and then lock in some of the, transitions to submissions. Because he is very skilled when it comes to grappling. He's always like a step ahead. But the way he holds his hands down and hunts that power shot, it may never come against Petr Yan. So I just got to go with Petr Yan based off the skill set, based off the experience at 135. And also, I do think that the crowd is going to be rooting on Petr Yan. I think that they're more used to him in China than they are Figueiredo. I do think Petr Yan has actually fought there previously, whether it be in the past regional promotions or not. So I think the crowd will be backing him, and everything that I explained is why you take Petr Yan via decision, just like my boy D-Rock. Plus 115. Let's make some money.
There was a point where we thought Petr Yan would never lose. He was going to run the 135 division. Then he kind of got hurt. He kind of lost as a big favorite to Aljo as well. So we'll see. I think this is a good fight for him as well. Kid, let's get back on the winning track. Hey, what do you say, kid?
Absolutely, bro.
Let's have a weekend. Let's get to some news before we get to Cage Warriors. I don't know if you saw this over the weekend, but UFC welterweight title challenger Darren Till will take on Tommy Fury in Misfit boxing match in Manchester, England on January 18th. Say what you want. This is going to do numbers, though.
It's going to do numbers. Yeah, absolutely. But I just don't know how Darren Till will fare in that type of style. I mean, he's competed plenty of times before. But I just think that it's going to favor Tommy Fury in every shape or form. It may be a way to display Darren Till a little bit so that he can maybe get other fights in the future. But nah, man, I don't like it. I don't like it all too much. He's going to be the B side. He's coming in. I guess it's in their own backyards in a sense, but
yeah,
I don't like it too much. I'll be completely honest with you. I don't like it too much for Darren Till. I think it favors Tommy Fury every way.
And his dad, John Fury, is just amazing. He's a madman. He's crazy.
That's what I love.
We got a really good fight for UFC Saudi Arabia, February 1st in the flyweight. Jasmine Jasudavicius will take on Mayra Bueno Silva. You like that fight?
I mean, Mayra Bueno Silva is tough, man. As long as she doesn't gas, I think she'll be favored. But I mean, Jasmine Jasudavicius has been a grinder, and she's been grinding for this chance, this opportunity. And now that it comes for her, let's see if she executes. I bet I'm probably going to put some money on Jasmine Jasudavicius. I think it's time. I think the gas tank and wrestling will speak for itself, especially when Mayra Bueno Silva gets a little greedy, maybe on the feet.
Hopefully, rumors. We don't know if it's a rumor date, but UFC Seattle, going back to Seattle, February 22nd, we got a banger. Brandon Allen taking on Anthony fucking Hernandez. Wow. You like that fight?
Yeah, man. That's a great fight. Styles clash. I think very similar, both guys.
Yeah.
Definitely their bread and butter is the grappling, but they like to throw hands. They're not afraid of that. We saw it with Brendan Allen and Chris Curtis. Towards the end of that fight, they were just swinging. And we all know with Fluffy Hernandez what he can do. So I think that's a very entertaining fight. But I do think what a case of what have you done for me lately is big and some momentum. Brendan Allen on losing, Fluffy Hernandez on the winning. I'm going to take Fluffy Hernandez, Anthony fucking Hernandez.
Ooh, but before that, January 25th, Bellator lightweight champion Usman Nurmagomedov will defend his title against Paul Hughes in Abu Dhabi. Big news, Paul Hughes. Love it. I love Paul Hughes.
I think you're right. I think I recall them saying it was going to be Russia versus Ireland 2 or something like that.
Yes, or Dagestan too. Yes.
Hey.
Do you like
I like
that?
big news. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people. You may see Usman Nurmagomedov shooting for a takedown.
Really?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I like that fight as well. Remember Fatima Klein? Shout out Fatima Klein and all her family. They were great people when I went out to Denver and I met her family. She will take on Victoria Dudakova, UFC Vegas 101, January 11th.
Hey, this is one of the best cards of the year. UFC 101.
I'm
Yeah, baby.
Oh,
So
that's when it is. I forgot. I'm sorry to interrupt. But Brave CF 91 Muhammad Mokaev will take on Luthando Biko December 13th.
I got to look into that dude a little bit, but yeah, same weekend. I like it.
We also got Grant Dawson. He's going to take on Carlos Diego Ferreira, UFC 311,
Damn.
January 11th. You like that fight?
I mean, the dude seems timeless, Carlos Diego Ferreira, you know? Whenever you doubt the man, he just proves you wrong, you know? So, tough matchup. Grant Dawson seems to have a little bit of a disadvantage on the feet, so he's certainly going to want to take it down. But, you know, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, you know, I bet you he's going to be a dog. I might be favoring Ferreira in that one.
We got news for the Bonfim brothers. Islam Bonfim will take on Nassim Sadikov, UFC 102, February 15th. And then his brother, Gabriel Bonfim, will take on Renate Fakhretdinov, UFC 102.
Damn. Both very, very tough fights. But these Bonfim brothers, man, they do make it entertaining. So I'm actually excited to see them both get in the mix. They're not on the same card, right? They're both going to be fighting.
No, it is. UFC 102.
I wonder if they're going to like corner one another.
That'd be interesting.
I'll be interested to see, like, okay, I'll corner you before my fight, and then you corner me after your fight. Like, I bet that's something that's in the mix.
And then Joey mentioned at the top of the show, we do have breaking news this afternoon. Civil court, Conor McGregor was found guilty of sexual assault, raping a woman in a Dublin hotel in 2018. The victim, Nikita Hand, she's been awarded $235,000 in damages. Conor McGregor had no statements to say to the media, but he did go on Twitter and say, you know, thank you for the support, all the people that are backing me. We are appealing this. No jail time because it is civil court, and it's just for punitive damages, which is money. But yeah, kid, not the news he wanted to be in, you know.
Yeah, very touchy subject. You know, whether it's true or not, the fact is he's been fucking up ever since he, you know, left the UFC, in a sense, you know. Yeah. Ever since that Khabib fight, it's been completely downhill. So in my eyes, it's absolutely unacceptable. But I mean, I'm still on the basis of no matter where you're on the world, innocent until proven guilty. I mean, he was just proven guilty, but then they say they're going to appeal it. So, I mean, the truth is always revealed sooner or later.
Yeah. So I mean, the statement from Conor, I will be appealing today's decision. The judge instruction and the most modest award given was for assault, not for aggravated or exemplary damages. I am disappointed that the jury did not hear all the evidence that the DDP or DPP reviewed. I am with my family now, focused on my future. Thank you to all the support worldwide. So we'll see. But yes, like you said, I do think he needs to shape up, and it's been a downward spiral. He just needs to train, be with his family, and stay out of the news, man. Like, just get back in the ring or the octagon. So
yeah,
let's go to a positive, though, kid. Cage Warriors 181 after UFC Macau, noon o'clock or 12 o'clock here on the East Coast. In Newcastle Upon Time, what do you got?
That's right. Even though I went 0-1 this week, we're going to get it back, as I always do. It's for the Cage Warriors Featherweight Championship. And Harry Hardwick, man, he's been defending it time and time again. The books have him as a favorite, minus 215. But do not doubt Kawuni Lopez at plus 175. The dogs are barking in Cage Warriors because last time I took him, he got a first-round knockout. And I think the streak continues. You know, Harry Hardwick likes to stand, but I don't think he's faced the type of power he will with Leal Lopez. So give me him. Dog price, plus 175. You know, I love when the dogs are barking.
I love it, kid. Hey, let's get back on the winning track. Hey, you know what I mean? And then we got, even though we do have Thanksgiving next week, we will be back. We got a great PFL card on next week as well. So
early start time on Friday.
Are
we doing a type of a different episode? Are we planning anything?
We'll discuss offline, but we'll definitely have an episode out next week for everyone.
Y'all be locked in with us because I'm expecting that to have to happen, being that they're on at 9:30 on a Friday. I mean, whose decision was that, Don Davis?
Joe, any last words before we get up out of here?
Yeah, shout out to my boys fighting tonight in Myrtle Beach. War on the Shore. Got Victorino Gonzalez, and I got Coach Jeremiah the Prophet Scott. Let's go, Coach Jay-Z. Both these boys, and Victorino's the main event, so I'm pretty sure it'll be an entertaining card throughout.
Good luck. God bless.